Do you think that coaches are born or they're made? But I don't know if that's going to be a good question.
Oh, that's a difficult one. Well, here's the thing. The belief is that you can ultimately learn how to be a coach.
Yeah, so it's interesting that you said that the coaching industry is growing, and I think it is because I've been seeing mastermind here, mastermind there, and it's growing exponentially. And to our audience who are thinking about being a coach or wanting to be a coach because they too have their own mission, what is something that you can recommend to them? Because to me, just like what we talked about earlier, is that coaching will require trust between those two individuals, the client and the coach, right? And my own experience is that I felt, and this is not sponsored, guys. I I really felt free, and I felt that I could trust you. I felt like I'm in a safe place. I um, I felt I can be vulnerable. When you were asking me the questions, I didn't even hesitate to answer them, and which I think was really important. Just like you said, it's still up to the individual to trust you and to actually open up. That's the only time that you can make a change, or both of you can make a change. Otherwise, it's gonna fall apart. So, what can you advise to whoever is gonna want to be a coach just like you? Because coaching, I believe, is so important.
That's an amazing question. And there are people that are looking to essentially become coaching. What is important is that one, people become certified coaches. There are many different institutions and schools that you can pursue to obtain your coaching um, credentials. And it's sort of it's a two-phased approach. I mean, um, I went through and I took a training program through the Flow Coaching Institute. They're based out of Toronto, but they offer services worldwide. So there's a little plug. I'll make sure that they get this as well. Um, but it really depends upon the philosophy of the coaching that you want to go after, and sort of they have different types of schooling there. Um, they have different programs that you can choose from. I elected to go through a business coaching program, and then eventually went through an examination process and became certified, where I am now a Flow certified professional coach. And the other aspect is there's also the International Coaching Federation. And the International Coaching Federation is a worldwide organization that ultimately sets the standards for the coaching profession, if you will. Everything along the code of ethics, confidentiality agreements, but also the competencies in which you need to be able to learn and demonstrate through the education system. There's a huge component. So once you become a certified coach, it is advisable, and it really depends, it's a personal decision, if you wish to take on additional credentials. And the credentials are based upon your education, your continued education from once you are credentialed as a coach. Um, and it also requires a certain level of experience, which is demonstrated through the number of coaching hours that you have with clients. And a lot of it is self-discovery as an individual as well when you go through a coaching training program. You can choose to do this through a university. You can go through various different institutes. There are many different organizations, and they're not necessarily done in person. Mine was all done virtually, which really worked well for me. The process can take about a year to go through from start to finish, and it really depends upon how quickly you also are willing to learn. But it's one of the best things that I have ever done. In fact, I sometimes kick myself a little bit because it was something that I wanted to do many, many, many years ago, but ultimately I waited. But when I did it, the time was right. And ultimately, in my experience, I learned about coaching in my early 20s. I had worked for an organization that they were strong supporters of coaching through the process of helping people learn their jobs. And from there, it was something that I embraced. And then moving into the learning and development space, I also began developing training programs associated with how to coach, but how to coach, how to have a coach approach in the work environment between a manager and their team member, right? And coaching is not necessarily one way. So many times within the workforce, we hear, well, do you ever coach upwards? Do you coach your boss? Right? And people are like, oh, no, I wouldn't do that. But ultimately, it's really about having a conversation with someone. So hopefully I've answered that question.
I think you did. I think you did. And I was gonna ask you if it's do you think that coaches are born or they're made? But I don't know if that's gonna be a good question.
Oh, that's a difficult one. Well, here's the thing. The belief is that you can ultimately learn how to be a coach.
Hmm.
And the reason for that is that the coach training program really teaches you different aspects of relationships, of how to build trust, how to communicate. They provide you with models that can be utilized in various different coaching sessions. So it is a skill and a competency level that ultimately you can learn. In fact, many different organizations have really now taken upon themselves to try to build a coaching culture, right? To really help them continue to build a highly engaged and a high performing work culture overall. Managers are expected to do so much today, yet at the same time, they're tasked with the responsibilities of teaching team members how to do things.
Hmm.
Well, coaching is about learning, right? And it really accelerates that learning process. And more companies are now hiring coach institutes and coach training centers to come in and train their staff, their management teams on how to coach other people because it is seen as a huge competitive advantage. That helps on many different fronts. It increases engagement, it increases employee retention.
Hmm.
It and ultimately we know in business in the business world that if an organization's engagement levels are high,
Hmm.
people feel that they are being seen, they're being heard, right? And they're being supported. And if they are, they say great things about their company. They have a desire to remain with the company, and they will go to the end of the world or the end of the earth, if you will, to essentially help that company succeed.
Wow.
And so it is a powerful dynamic. Now, keeping in mind, coaching is not the only portion that helps, that there are many other factors when we're talking about high performing and highly engaged workforces. But it's something that definitely helps to propel that company forward as well, especially from an overall employee satisfaction, employee feel.
And listening to what you're saying, I feel like coaching is even taking a more proactive approach than managing what could be happening to the employee afterwards. So, Dan, if people want to get a hold of you, how can they reach you?
If you'd like to get a hold of me, you can reach me through my website at grisonicoaching.com. And through there, feel free to schedule a call. You can also contact me through my email, which is dan@grisonicoaching.com. So thank you for your time. This has been amazing. I've really enjoyed our
Yes,
conversation. I look forward to chatting with you more, Jeffrey. But again, thank you.
you're welcome. Thank you for watching and have a great day. Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.